We are live now.
Okay. A very good afternoon, namaste. A very warm welcome to the Women in Standards Roundtable Webinar 2025. I am Ritika Dev from TSDSI, your host for the webinar. Before we begin, here are few hygiene announcements. All attendees will be in listen-only mode throughout the workshop. If you have any questions for the speakers, please raise your hands during the Q&A session once the panel discussion is over. The webinar is being recorded and will be posted on the TSDSI website within the next few days. This exclusive roundtable will provide a platform for meaningful discussions on the role of women in standardization and their contributions to building inclusive and equitable technology landscapes. The discussions will feature women technology experts who are in various stages of engaging with development of standards. They will share their experiences and learnings, including how it has helped them in their career and organizational growth. I now invite Ms. Anuradha Kanmallapuri, TSDSI Outreach Committee Co-Chair, to give the opening remarks for today's workshop. Ms. Anuradha leads the technology research at GE Healthcare at Bangalore. She is also a part of the governing council of TSDSI and the TSDSI Outreach Committee co-chair. Ma'am, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Ratika. Am I audible, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Good afternoon. My name is Anuradha, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome all of you to this Women in Standards Roundtable. This is an important conversation that brings together leaders, experts, practitioners, and change makers in the field of standardization. So we all know how standards shape our world, right? They define how technologies interoperate, ensure safety and efficiency, and sometimes even influence global trade and policy. So the landscape of standardization is evolving rapidly, along with the advancement of technology in multiple areas, including AI, 5G, cybersecurity, healthcare, and so on. And so there is a need for inclusive perspectives in defining standards much greater than before. So the voices contributing to these standards must be as diverse as the world they impact. And as we all know, women bring in unique perspectives, experiences, and expertise to the table. It is crucial that we learn from some of the women contributors in this space. So today is one such session that we have, and some of the key topics that we'll explore today include: what does a career in standardization mean? How can we encourage and enable more women to participate in standard setting bodies? What are the skills and qualities required? And how can organization, policymakers, and industry leaders drive change in this space? And what are the challenges these women have faced as they went through this journey in their roles as standards development? So we have a very esteemed panel today who have been in this journey, and I look forward for a very rich and insightful discussion. And I am hoping to go back with a lot of learning in this topic of standardization and contribution to standardization. So with that, I would like to call upon our guest today to give the keynote address.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your insights. Your words truly set the tone for today's discussions. I now invite Ms. Gajala Faisal, Deputy Director General Transmission, Department of Telecommunications, Government of India, to deliver the keynote address for today's webinar. Uh, Ma'am, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. And it's truly a pleasure to be with you all today here. And though the Women's Day has passed, but I would like to congratulate you for that Women's Day. As we speak about women standards, and as we talk today, we uh, as the discussion today is about uh, women in standards, and I also work in standards. I am Deputy Director General with Telecom Engineering Center, which is a unit with Ministry of Communications. So, as we all know that in this today's digital transformation, not only in India but around the world, ICT not only shape economies and societies, but it is also defining and changing in an altogether different way that how we connect and how we communicate with each other. So as these things are evolving rapidly, and it is affecting it's affecting heavily on how we talk to each other, how our economies and societies are behaving, and how it's growing. So the importance of standards become even more important because unless the standards are globally accepted, interoperability and security, scalability, and then it becomes a challenge. So the role of standards becomes even more important. And it is now coming to today's topic, that who are making these standards, and who is the one who is making these standards. So coming to this, we talk of when we come to discuss about the gender diversity in the standardization process, that who are the people who are making these standards, and who are the stakeholders. So as we know that mm, gender diversity plays an important role in every field, not just in standards making. It's important everywhere. We have been hearing and learning that even corporates also have they also look for having at least few women members on their board, because women are not only developers, they are consumers also, they are end users also. So gender diversity is actually important for standards equally. So now the moot point is, are women's voices truly being heard in shaping these standards? So so let us see why women's participation in standards matter. We come to this topic in this way, that just as women bring diversity in different matters, even in standards, women would bring more a different perspective. So there would be diverse perspectives available, because they are women are not just professionals; they are also, as I just said, that end users, being a consumer, saying they are decision makers, they are innovators. So women's participation and women's representation in technology standardization is comparatively keeping that kind of effect, diverse perspective in mind, it's relatively low. However, I would say it's not very low, but it is, as far as my organization is concerned, the women are quite in numbers. So the women participation is reasonably well there. So, but then coming to this, why the women participation matters, because as we are coming to this age of AI, and when we come to this, when we see that now it has become very easy to filter out, even in this, if for example in a recruitment process, this recruitment software, it can very easily filter out all kinds of resumes which have a female in its data field. So that's how it becomes is very easy to filter out. So therefore, all such things, when it comes to it enters into the process of standardization, the participation of women becomes more and more important. So because this is because we are making the technology, so we cannot call it a flaw of technology, because we are making, if if we ensure that the standardization process is inclusive, this bias and this discrimination can be taken care of. um, as far as the global commitment to gender inclusive standards is concerned, the International Telecommunication Union has taken some action. So they have recently adopted the ITU Resolution 55, which calls for more women decision-making roles in its standards development. The next is capacity building programs to equip women with skills and opportunities. And the third is a global commitment from global organizations to remove gender based barriers in technology governance. So these 3 points, as I read out, these are already included in the resolution 55 of ITU. Still, despite these initiatives by ITU and by organizations like us, uh, uh, we must acknowledge that barriers still exist for women, and women still face challenges in entering and then leading the standardization space. So if we can try to categorize or try to bullet these biases, so the number one I would place is the institutional biases. The decision-making rules in these standardization bodies are still male dominated. But fortunately, I think TSDSI also has lots of women, and my office also. Like I'm a female, some DDGs. My boss is also a female, and many of our directors, they are female, and they are doing very good. So, but then this is not an institutional system. This is just by chance that there are some women here. So we have to institutionalize this concept. The second is limited awareness, that still, in spite of all the efforts, in spite of all the initiatives, the awareness is still low. So women have to remain, bring themselves, bring themselves on the forefront of such sessions, technology programs, and increase their awareness. So this is one challenge that has to be met out, that how can we uh, take care of these things, give more women become aware of standards development process. The third is lack of mentorship. That is still there are very few programs that are available which can guide women in navigating through the standardization process. That how the process at ITU works, how can they get involved into the process of standard making in TSDSI or other bodies, and what is the process to get into ITU. So we should have some structured guidance programs which can help women to navigate this path. So coming to the way forward, I would say that we need an inclusive standards ecosystem which can help take care of these challenges. That we should encourage mentorship. So successful women, those who are already have made their mark in the standardization process, they should actively support their emerging professionals like young officers, young women professionals. They should be encouraged to participate in all such standardization programs. And then the next is push for policy changes. So organizations must commit to gender balanced participation in technical standardization process. So, for example, as I said that there are women, we see more women. So this is just by chance. So we must come up with some policy changes and institutionalize the concept of having some female, like mandatory women participation. So that would help take care of this issue. Invest in it. Then the third one is invest in education and awareness. So women professionals must be empowered to engage in various AI, cybersecurity, 5G, and digital governance platforms. All fields where standardization is shaping the future. Women must and they should invest in such programs and such educational programs. So the call to action should be today, as we are talking today. Let us take some decisions. So I will say that let us let wherever we are. each one of you or myself. So we should know that how what I can do today to contribute and make to contribute to make these standards more inclusive. How can my organization empower women in leadership roles in a standard making process? Be it the environment at workplace, be it some awareness, whatever it takes to achieve this and to break these barriers. So let us take that start today itself. We can also we should also think from today itself that what role can we play in ensuring that the next wave of technology is fair, inclusive, and accountable. So I just want to I just take this today's opportunity. So let us resolve today that we will work together to ensure that women are not just part of conversation, but they are leading the transformation of technology standards. And with these words, I would thank you all for this opportunity and this and the patient hearing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful address and setting the stage for deeper discussions. Now, we move on to the panel discussion on Women in Standards, Roundtable 2025. To moderate this discussion, we have Ms. Anuradha Kanmarlapudi. She will be joined by a distinguished panel of accomplished women technology experts, each of whom is actively involved in various stages of standards development. Throughout the discussion, they will share their invaluable experiences and insights, highlighting how their engagement in standards development has contributed to both their professional growth and the advancement of their respective organizations. Our distinguished panelists are Dr. Garima Mishra. She is working as an associate consultant, a senior scientist at TCS Research and Innovations Lab, Bangalore. Next, we have Ms. Noor Fatma. She is a co-founder of EasoFi Solutions, an AI-driven health tech company advancing medical imaging and healthcare access. Our next panelist is Dr. Pimmi Gandotra, who is currently working in the strategy team at Bharti Airtel India. Our next panelist is Dr. Sonali Garg. She is a senior manager in the Standards and Research Group at HFCL Limited, where she spearheads the company initiatives in 6G research within the 5G business unit. So here we can start the panel discussion. Over to you, Ms. Anuradha, ma'am.
Miss
Ma'am, you
Anuradha,
are
you need to
muted. Can you unmute?
Hey, sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone, and you know, welcome back. So we will start off a panel discussion, and we'll start with some kind of introductions, and then we will come into questions. So I would actually go around the table and ask each of you to introduce yourself, share your background in technology development and standards, and more importantly, answer this question of what inspired you to get into standards development. So we'll start with Garima, and then we will go to Sonali, Noor, and Pimi.
Hi, thank you everyone and TSDSI for providing us this opportunity. So I have done my master's and PhD from IIT Delhi, and prior to that, I have worked with Nokia and other product-based companies. And after PhD, I joined TCS. It's the seventh year running, and I'm part of its research and innovation group. So the main reason, first of all, like I was introduced to this standards community by my manager. So as Faisal ma'am also mentioned, we need to have a very strong mentor for it because awareness for standards is very less. So I started with that, and now I'm participating with TSDSI along with ITU. So my background is research and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you. Sonali?
Thank you, and thank you, Radha ma'am, for this. This is very important that we share from where we are coming and how did we start our engagement in the standards work. So my biography, at least it was on the screen, so I would skip that. But I would start with my role at HFCL. So in HFCL, we put up our contributions in the global standardization forums like ITUR, ITUT. Then with being part of TSDSI and this journey of 3 to 4 years with TSDSI has actually enabled me to put the active contributions in the global forum. And my research areas are 5G advanced and pre 6G domains, where I focus on the areas such as energy efficiency, integrated sensing and communication, energy efficient modulation schemes. As Ghazala ma'am has very precisely highlighted that young people should be motivated and the women gender balance should be there. So as a young R&D engineer, I believe that yes, youth play a vital role in shaping the standards for the emerging technology. And since our generation is growing up in an era where these technologies are evolving rapidly, I guess we have this unique advantage of being the digital natives, and we being aware of all these things so easily. Should understand that there is a gap which exists between the innovation and the standards. Being part of academia, when I was doing my PhD, we were doing some research work, we were publishing papers. I often had this question that why is my paper not getting implemented anywhere in the products, and that is where I understood that there is a gap, and this gap could be probably we can fill this up with with active collaborations, with understanding of the standardization journey. And my inspiration, it came up from that part only, that whatever we are working on should be implemented, and how it can be implemented once you know how the standards journey is, the standardization aspects. And surprisingly, or funny, I would say that in my journey, there were most of the men where I could find the seniors to guide me in this journey. I could find very few women, but I'm very thankful to all those people who have inspired me in this journey, who have hand held me and taken me up forward. And the first people who I would like to thank you in the process is the TSDSI. And then yes, there were many male mentors who were not from my organization have supported me and taken me up in the journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Noor?
Yeah, hi everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Noor Fatma, co-founder of EasyOFI Solutions. And EasyOFI is a women-led company. So we are three co-founders, all female. And we work on medical images basically. What we do is we use AI to analyze medical images and then provide insights to the doctors for diagnosis, surgery planning, radiation oncology planning, and all those sort of things. I completed my BTech in electronics and communication and have had around 15, 16 years of experience in corporate, working on various products, both in semiconductor, then health, etc. And at EasyOFI, we work on health. Our journey into standards, it was not by choice, rather by compulsion, because when we are dealing with health data, and there are so many types of modalities we are dealing with. There are text, which are prescriptions. Then there are medical images which are of other formats, and in the medical images there are so many other data also embedded. For example, what modality, what type of machine was used, all those sort of things. So now clubbing all those things together and then coming up with an insight and developing an AI model on it is rather difficult if we do not work on standards. And then whatever we are developing as a product, it has to go and has to be deployed at various settings. So It could be rural. We are working in rural hospitals. We are working in difficult terrains like northeast, where it's different, the machines are different. So unless and until there are proper standards defined and we follow them, it is very difficult for us to scale our solutions and deploy it and make and come out with meaningful outcomes for the doctors as well as for the patients. And that is how we were inspired. And luckily for us, standards in health are very well defined and very well followed. Mostly people are following it because as a product company we are creating a very small part in the whole workflow, and it has to go and ultimately fit into the workflow. We cannot just build something which is not following standards and then expect people to adopt it seamlessly. So that was our inspiration to get to know about standards, and our journey has been very interesting, very long. We have worked on all standards in health, DICOM, HL7, so that our systems are interoperable. And when we integrate into various workflows, we are working with PACS companies who are integrating our AI solutions. Now, initially, when we started integrating into their systems, it took us more than a month to make our algorithm so that it can fit. Now, it takes hours for us because we have standards defined here, and it takes hours for us to club it and make it on top of any system and make it workable. Within hours the system is up and running. So that is the power of standards which we have realized. Initially we had to do a lot of work on around it, and then we also had, because see, working on a product and making it is very exciting, innovation is very exciting, but then including standards in it and developing that has to be a mindset. And then throughout our organization we have adopted that mindset that when we are developing something, enhancing any feature, we take into account the standards which are there in health. Or if there are not if those standards are not available, then we promote them and we take them that how it can be taken up. So that has been our journey at EasyFi in standards.
Thank you, Noor. Pimi?
Hi everyone. Thank you TSDSI and thank you Anuradha ma'am for this platform. Everyone, I'm Pimi Gandotra and I'm working as a manager in the strategy team at Bharti Airtel. So I'm basically a telecom professional with a blend of academic and industry experience. After completion of my PhD in the area of green communication, I got an opportunity to work at IIT Delhi as a research scientist, and therein I started working on the indigenous 5G testbed project. That is where I came across different terms on standards, like we have ETSI compliant test beds available, we have to set up an ETSI compliant test bed, or we have 3GPP specifications. And during the course of this project, it was seen that the Indian government had started taking initiatives in the area of standards, and a new project then came forth, which was on next generation standardization activities. So that was my first encounter with the standards. We started looking into how we can actually contribute to the SDOs. We've been contributing, me and my team back then at IIT Delhi. We contributed to TSDSI, ITU Research Works, and 3GPP. So my academic research was until then, and after that, I was working in a private university also, wherein some degree of research activities were initiated, but still there was a lack of knowledge in the area of standards. I tried to fill in the gap to an extent, but at the academic level, even the private institutes especially, they still have a lot to cover that gap as of now. So my present role basically allows me to apply my academic insights to the real world challenges, and I try to leverage that digital divide via this. So this has been my journey so far, and I am trying to incorporate my knowledge more into the real world applications as of now. Thank you.
Thank you, Pimi. Thanks, everyone, for those wonderful stories of inspiration. So we'll move to the next segment. So we finished about yourself. Now let's start talking about your organization. So how is your organization involved in the development and implementation of technology standards? And what way has these engagements in standards development benefited you and your organization? So we'll go in the reverse order now. So I'll request Pimi to take the first the question first.
Okay, so as I said, my journey in the standards has been very versatile. I started from a premier educational institute at IIT Delhi. So therein we had a project on standardization. So the target was to meet the requirements of the project. Then after that, at a university level, I just had the notion that at least people or my colleagues or fellow students, the other students, they need to be aware of what 3GPP does, what are the possible, work groups or areas where the students can read about or put forth something, or how ITU and TSDSI work. Here, now being associated with an operator, I know that the demands tend to be very diverse. So basically, in each area or in each of the organization, the experience or if we say that involvement of the organization is always critical, then it is collaborative and regulatory. When we talk of critical thing, it is where the connectivity is critical for any telco. So they have to ensure, and in ensuring connectivity in accordance with standards is the prime focus. Regulatory, because there are a lot of policies, especially the spectrum policies and others which are formulated. So regulatory dimensions also exist. And collaborative, because as the discussion goes forward and we all are aware, we would come to know again further, because this is a collaborative effort. We do not go ahead in standards as a single entity, because while setting up of standards, the real world environment has to be first tested. A lot of POCs are run before any entity becomes a standard. So it has to be a collaborative effort from the industry, academia, startups, and the research labs. They have to together come up with the affirmations that a thing or a standard can be actually published or put forth for a global usage. So this is how journey of an individual and an organization goes around with respect to the standards. Then the real world insights primarily are provided by the operators, because they have tested applications, technologies in the field. They know the pros and cons. And as per the inputs, insights attained from them, the other organizations collaboratively work in the area to formulate the standards. Also, while we have to integrate the handsets for usage, this integration of handsets also has to be standards compliant. So the OEMs also play an important role while we are defining standards on any technology. And with the rapid evolvement in the technologies, like we hear about AI, ML, and network optimization, we hear about new IoT applications coming into picture every now and then. So we have to take into consideration that all these run in parallel and there is no lag left in between. That's it from my end. Thanks.
Thank, thank you, Pimi. Over to you, Noor.
Yeah, so at EasyFi, how we are contributing in standards is, and how we are promoting all of our people working on the product to come up to study the standards, then come up with their own, is we have joined various groups. There are groups for DICOM, there are groups for FHIR, there are groups for HL7. They have regular meetings and regular workshops, regular sessions. We encourage our team to join those, give inputs there. Then while developing our product, we take care that we know all the standards, because there are many standards available, and what we have to follow is which is being used all over the world and all over India. So that standardization, we are still in the process of because see, we are a startup, we have limited team, so we are a total of 15 people working on the product, working on sales and everything. So in that, we take care that we come up with time where we talk about standards. We have a protocol wherein when somebody new joins our team, we tell them about what all standards in healthcare we are using. And the other thing is that we promote. We are 50% women in the team, so we promote all the women to work on compliances. For us, patient privacy is very important. The data has to be anonymized. So we have worked on novel algorithms. We have patented that certain algorithms which anonymizes the patient data and then puts it on the cloud. So those sort of things we are doing. We are publishing papers in that, and that is how in our organization. But yes, I understand that the efforts are a little less, but we have to put in more effort. And as a leader at Easiofy, I will also start. I'm part of the ITU, but not a very active member, I would admit. But yes, I would pledge to be an active member of ITU standards from now on. Now on. So that is.
Thank you, Noor. Sonali.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So about my organization, so at HFCL, we recognize the importance of enhancing our participation on the international front, especially as the Indian organization when the technology is evolving rapidly. We do that by strengthening our academic and industry collaboration, by expanding our patent portfolio, and by developing global products with Indian innovation. So, our standards and research team, which I am part of, it plays a crucial role in contributing to emerging technology discussions, driving innovations in beyond 5G and 6G, and enhancing our intellectual property portfolio. We also take pride in our world-class products such as FWACP, Macro RU88, our indoor small cells. But in the same spirit, young engineers of HFCL, which I have pulled up a number which is approximately 52% of our total workforce, are integral to this process. And engagement in standards development. For as a personal as a personal growth and as an organizational growth, it has brought multiple benefits to us. In terms of my organization, I can put up it like that: it has strengthened our position as a key player in advanced communication technologies, which where it has allowed us to influence and stay ahead of the industry trends. As a personal growth, I would say that this journey has provided me with a platform to collaborate with global experts, contribute to shaping the next generation networks technology, and also gain a deeper understanding of how research translates into the industry adoption. So it is a win-win situation for both, right? If I'm also growing, my organization would also grow alongside. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Sonali. Garima.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, like from coming from research background, transitioning to research and standards both. So you realize the power of standardization when you actually transition from one field to the other, like how important it is to go both the things hand in hand. Because when I was doing research, it was very much in solo. You just publish a paper and problem is solved and there it is. And but once you are into standardization, you actually look your effort which you have put in solving a problem, that should be seen as a global solution which can be utilized by many other people. So in that way it should be compliant to the standard, so that it is very easy to adapt your solution with many other people. So this is how when you grow with your solution complying with the standard, your company is benefited, because my company is like TCL is a services and consulting company where we have diversified domain, like we have healthcare, automobile. So we have this ISO standard which they take care of, other for like telecommunication. So we are very much part of TM forum. And open standards also, we are part of like Linux. And for cloud computing we have CNCF, so that foundation also we are part of. So we very much encourage our developers to be part of open forums, as well as whatever publications we are giving, that has to be converted to patents. And later on, recently we came across like SCPs, where patents need to be implemented in future to be realized as a product. That is very much important. where India is actually lacking. So in ComsNet 2025, we thanks to again TSDSI, we have a special workshop on this SDR where we talked about SAPs, where our patents need to be again further converted to these SAPs so that making them productizing them is easier. So this is how TCS is getting benefited out of this, and also TCS is taking part of in many conferences as part of sponsors, like gold sponsorships we are providing. Like TM Forum 2024, we were gold sponsors, similar for ComsNet. So this is how we are promoting ourselves as well as standards. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So we covered your personal goals, we covered your organization. So let's now go a little deeper and we'll try to understand what is actually meant by shaping technology standards and what do you have to do there. So Sonali, can you help us with answering that question?
Thank you, ma'am. Yes. Yeah, shaping technology standards actually means actively contributing to the development, refinement,
Mhm.
and adoption of technical specifications that define how communication systems and networks operate globally. So these standards ensure interoperability, security, efficiency, and enabling the seamless integration of technology across different vendors, operators, and regions. Now, why am I highlighting operators, vendors, and regions? Because as a vendor, we understand that it's the operator who has to put up the technology, and operator has to understand what end user wants in the end, right? So it's like interoperability or understanding of the technology should be there between vendor, operator, and the end user. We want to build a product where operator is willing to put up in the market, right? An operator wants to put up something where end user would be want to work on it or use it as the technology innovation. So as a vendor, I can put up my opinion that we contribute to shaping standards in several ways. One is the technical contributions, which is really important, like we do in TSDSI, I2R, I2T, and vendors do it in 3GPP as well. So these contribution, for example, there are some certain areas we have picked up. So it is up to the the area you are in. Like for example, if you're a vendor, operator, at the end user, you have to look up for the opportunity, or you have to look for the technology you want to work in, or your organization is interested in. Then participation in the standardization meeting is really important. It's not the contribution. You have to be there. You have to engage in the global discussions. You have to present your research insights and align them with the international requirements. That is second must, right? Then there is a pre-standardization research which we are doing for 6G these days, right? The 6G standardization actually will start in, like, so the pre-standardization work is happening right now, and it will be concluded in 2028, right? So we work on cutting edge technologies that are yet not standardized but have the potential to be included in the future standards. This includes the collaboration with academia and industry as well. Then fourth one is intellectual property, where Garima has also highlighted very well that we need to align the R&D with the standardization effort, and these innovations, and we have to highlight the innovations which are which have the potential of commercial and licensing value. Then national and regional contributions. There are certain national forums where people can be part of, and then they can incline with the standardization efforts of those forums. And this step can ensure that our country's technological priorities are well represented in international discussions. So in a sense, shaping technology standards is all about influencing how future networks and communication systems evolve by ensuring that our innovation aligns with the global perspective and regulatory requirements and industry needs. I guess that's what is my opinion. But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, so Sonali, could you share some real life examples on how you navigated your journey in this space? You could highlight
Yeah.
a couple of experiences or also give your recommendations.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, my journey in standards development have been filled with certain lessons and milestones where I can share. So I started early engagement of my standardization journey started with TSDSI. We have an active study item. So during my PhD days, we had this active study item on the research area of like that was optical communication. Then from HFCL we engaged into the research area we have picked up for our business unit, priority area. And so I would say my early standardization journey started with TSDSI, and through TSDSI, we aligned ourselves to ITOR. It was through TSDSI and through NSD 5, National Study Group 5, where we inclined ourselves to ITOR 5D, and we are, putting our contributions and efforts in areas such as integrated sensing and communication, AI, energy efficiency. I would say initially I had the limited exposure, but then, as I've mentioned already, that by collaborating with certain industry experts, I gained some insights into how contributions can be structured, reviewed, and debated in the working groups. Then there was I2WTSE meet, which was a very big event which happened in India last year. We submitted our research paper there, and we had the opportunity to present our research paper or research work on the global, forum, and we had this discussion on a certain topic where we contributed, and the positive feedback we received, it had actually given us the motivation to move forward. We also participated in the panel discussion, right? Then there was right then the journey started, that okay, we have to put up contributions. Now what next? Then, as Garima has highlighted, that put up patents, put up, then look for them. If they can be SCPs, they can be very positive for your organization. So being part of ITR 5D, that is one global forum where I travel, I participate in the meetings. There are certain, I would say, personal, probably setbacks, where you can say that you have to travel there for 14 days, you have to be there, you have to sit in the meetings which are long hour discussions, you have to work in the direction of where your country would be thriving in the area. For example, there is a certain topic which was recent in the meeting, which was our country's priority area, but was not supported by China, was not supported by Japan, was not supported by UK. Then what do? We come out of the room, we get into the offline discussion, we try to convince them, and then we have to compromise somewhere, that okay, few things we may not be interested in, may not be our priority area, but we need to support the other people. So that is how, once you sit in the meetings, you understand, okay, I have to work in this way to get my country priority area get accepted. And I would say, personally, it has given me a understanding of this journey. So participation in the standardization meeting is really important once you're contributing. So that's it. I think standardization has provided me with an incredible platform to contribute and to collaborate and shape the future of communication technologies. Uh, yeah, I guess I think I can. This is my journey, but I would love to discuss this in detail after the panel discussion, if anyone would want to be interested in it. Thank
Thank you, Sonali. Uh, so, Noor, I heard that you have your own startup, and I was like pleasantly surprised to see a startup in the standards world. So, we would like to hear your perspective from being a startup in and your role in standards and what you do there. And you could also add what challenges you have faced and strategies you have adopted to overcome the challenges, especially in the area of healthcare, where your company is working on.
Yeah, so for us at Easiofy, what we are doing in standards is basically, if you we are working on AI in medical imaging, and as you all know, there is no particular standardization for evaluating them, for validating the AI models, and the AI models have to be used by the doctors to diagnose patients or maybe treat patients. Now here there is a thing of trust which comes into picture. Why would a doctor trust our AI model, uh, that it is giving a good accuracy? So the benchmarks for that is very important for us, how we are benchmarking our AI models, and there is no set standard available for medical images as of now. So we are working on those for the standardization. We are part of bigger platforms, bigger companies who are working on these, and that is how we are contributing and how we are working on standards in AI in medical imaging. Now, if I talk about challenges, the challenges have been immense. Now, the foremost was data standardization. Data, it depends upon like what type of data is coming. It would depend upon very depending upon the hospital, the equipment, and also maybe sometimes the region, from which region the data is coming on. Now, making the AI work seamlessly and interoperably throughout every place is a challenge. It has been challenging for us, and there we had to implement certain pre-processing steps, then other open source algorithms we had to adopt, so that all that data comes in standard format on our platform. I'll tell you an instance. We developed an MVP, and we got an opportunity to deploy it at a hospital, at a district hospital in Vidisha. We knew what our we needed CT data, CT or MRI data from the equipment, and then we would segment it and give a 3D model to the doctor to plan the surgery. Now everything was ready, but when we went into the field, we understood that taking the data out from the equipment was a challenge for a challenge there. How we could take that data, put it on the cloud, and do the work. So we had to implement a little module for that also. So took us 15 days to implement that module, and then our software started working seamlessly. And this happens, and then we realized that this pre-processing or this middle layer would always be required wherever we go. So sometimes it would be required, or most of the times it is required. So that has been the challenge. The second is, when we are developing AI models, we need data in all formats. That has to be structured data, then that has to be labeled. Sometimes we are developing supervised models wherein we need labeled data from the radiologist, so that labeling also varies from doctors to doctors. The annotations which they make, that varies. So we are working on platforms, and we have developed a solution wherein the annotation is also standardized. So when a doctor makes an annotation, that is available in a standardized format, so that it is structured, and then the AI model could be trained. The second thing, then the third thing is the trust. Now when an AI model makes a decision, basically a black box. Nobody can understand why this decision was made by the AI model. So we incorporated explainability into the model, so that it is highlighting the features which it has seen and then made a decision. So that if there is an error and we have to improve the accuracy, or we have to correct certain parameters, we can easily do that. Otherwise it was difficult for us to know why has the AI model uh, done the diagnosis correctly on this image, but it has done badly on this image. So that explainability also we incorporated into our AI models, and now it is presented to the doctors as well, that these are the features which were highlighted, and that is why the AI has made a decision. Sometimes it could be large features, sometimes it could be a very small feature which was highlighted, and that is why it did. So that has made the doctors trust our product more, because they can see why it is happening. Now it is not a black box for them. So then the third thing is compliances. So as a healthcare platform, we have to be compliant in various things. For example, the HIPAA compliance, which takes care of the patient privacy, patient data privacy. The second thing is CDSCO for India, FDA for US, and CE compliances for other countries, and all the countries, they have their own medical device compliance, which is necessary also, because we are dealing with patients there, we are dealing with lives there. So that is another challenge which we are navigating as throughout our startup journey, as we are commercializing our product more and more. Yeah, so these are the challenges which we are facing on a daily basis, and we are trying to navigate as good as we can.
Yeah, thank you, Noor. I think that was pretty insightful to hear the experiences from a startup perspective. Uh, so Pimi, you're from an academic side, right? And you just moved into a service into the industry. So what do you see it from an academic perspective? And we also know that the scenario is so we all have this notion that academia is pretty slow. But in the current world where the technology is evolving very fast, so how do standards development keep up the pace? You could give a perspective from an academic side.
Sure. Thank you for the question. Basically, academia plays a very pivotal role as far as standards are concerned, because as I said, even my journey started from an academic institute. IIT Delhi was a pioneer institute which is contributing in standards along with two other IITs during the phase in the initial phase of standardization efforts from the India side. So, correspondingly, Sonali also mentioned, and we all must be knowing, we have for every study group in ITU, we have a corresponding national working group in India also, which actually provides you an interface to move to ITU. So, if you cannot directly route your ideas, the NWG discussions provide us with the appropriate platforms. So, academic research is largely influenced by what is stated in the standards. The people who pursue further research during their masters or doctorates, they refer to the technical reports and technical specifications in the first place. Even during the simulations, the parameters are opted out of those technical specifications. So the academic researchers tend to read these reports in depth, so they can actually serve as very fruitful resources to move forward into the area of standardization. With the development of new standards nowadays, as we are heading towards 5G advanced and 6Gs, these research areas in the academics are now aligning with the industry needs. So the solutions that are being put forth that are very close to what the industry may be demanding in future, what the standards would be aligning to in the future. So we see academicians putting forth different types of architectures and solutions and algorithms which actually can form a basis of what standards might be requiring. In recent efforts by the government also, we have several 5G labs being set up. As of now, there are 100 5G labs which have been set up across the countries. These are targeting setting up of the simulation test bed. So via simulations, they can draw out some concrete results on the specific technologies via the test bed, and these act simulations can are being tried by the academicians to serve as a baseline for initiating standards discussions. Such discussions are in place already. With some research efforts have been initiated at TSDSI and 3GPP as far as I know. And even if we check on the list of participants in these standard SDO meetings, we see in today's era, almost all IITs are participating here. IISCs are participating. Mostly the institutes of national importance have already gained a significant place in the area of standardization, and the others are also trying to thrive in this race. Apart from that, academic programs are also getting aligned with the progress in standardization. Nowadays, these academic programs are not just limited to ECE, CSC, or mechanical, and so we have specialized programs like AI, courses, undergrad courses or postgraduate courses in AI or cybersecurity and IoT. So we see that curriculum is restructured so that people, the students who go through it, they have an awareness about these standards aspects, and they are the budding engineers, so they are ready to go into the market and spread the awareness and get the most out of this knowledge. So academia is no longer a slow domain left in today's world. Yes, there are certain institutes which lack sufficient information about these contexts, but gradually with the efforts of the government, with the efforts of TSDSI, and the information that is being spread, we have a lot of news globally available. So everyone is now gradually becoming aware of all these terminologies and aspects, and everyone is trying to meet the end goal and attain a significant position in this area.
Thank you, Pimi. It's good to hear what's happening on the academic side, and also like very happy to hear that you also have courses on that. So we'll
Yeah,
go to the
and
next. Go ahead.
And probably you asked me regarding how the standards are meeting up with the technological evolution, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
an important point to take into consideration here is that standards are evolving basically in phases, or in general, we read about releases. So, these releases are very well planned. So, there is a large amount of proactive planning arranged from the standards end. So, when these releases are planned, each release has some amount of features to be rolled out in a release. then the subsequent features are added in the subsequent releases. So that is how standards go along with the advancements in the technologies. And standards, all the SDOs, they are very smart. They actually sense what is the upcoming technologies. Like nowadays we have AI, ML, edge computing. They are finding a boom. Immersive communication. They are finding a lot of significant place in the market these days. And in corresponding to the development in these technologies, significantly, or I would say primarily focusing on these technologies, the SDOs are also focusing more on the subsequent releases, such that these articles are incorporated in the releases with all the requirements established or published time to time, so that all everyone is on the same page regarding what requirements or what use cases would be part of these technologies. So there is a like win-win situation between these two undergoing at the moment in the current scenario as far as we can read about.
Thank you, Pimi. Uh, so next question is to Garima. So Garima, what are the soft skills and qualities that an individual must have or develop to play a role in shaping standards? And how does one actually develop their skills and interest in this area?
Yeah. This question has two parts. One is like skills, which is applicable to anybody. It is not only women, but it is as
Yes.
this field is now we are exploring, especially for women. If we don't have, then we need to develop those skills. But the skills are common to everyone. So first skill, very important skill, which I have noticed since past 2 years when I am active in standards, is the communication skill. How well you articulate your problem to a layman people. Because in the standardization, we have people from diversified backgrounds. Like Noor is from healthcare, Pimi is from telecommunication. So we all have very different domains. So your problem statement and the thing which you want to communicate to be articulated in a very clear and crisp manner. For this, we also realized from one of our activities, which is part of ITU again, you have to give a use case, which is AI for good use cases, which is nowadays getting promoted by TSDSI as well. So that is very much related to this, how well you are articulating your solution
Mm,
to people who are going to consume your solution. So what is the exact use case you are targeting? So in that case, drafting your problem and not going into technical solution, but just deliver the main points. So that is a very important skill. The again, which Sonali mentioned, this negotiation skill. So that I have seen, like in 2023, we were fortunate enough in Bangalore, we had this 3GPP meeting, and there I could see how negotiation was taking place in standards, which solution need to be adapted by all the industry people, even though if it is little less technically advanced, but if it is in favor of maybe from business point of view or from the consumer point of view to everybody. So that is very important, how well you negotiate or convince other stakeholders to be part of your solution. So that negotiation and communication skill is very important. The other thing is awareness, which is again like standardization I came across when I was introduced by a mentor, my manager. Otherwise, it was just taken as another role in an organization, not being your habit of making a solution. The other part of problem was like how you can develop it. So very important is like you understand your domain, and according to your domain and skills, you be part of standards body. First you start participating and then contributing, because understanding this world itself is complex. So we need to first start participating in it in a very initial stage, so you involve your juniors along with that, so that in future they are also very well trained. And then we need to identify the exact study group. Like in ITU, we have study groups like for networking, or IoT, we have SG13, SG20. Similarly, we have many more. So you need to identify the right study group, map it to the national study group, and then start participating and contributing. This is how it needs to be developed, and awareness and the right mentor is very important, because it's a very complex field. You can't uh, get into it without a mentor or a perfect proper guidance. And just one more
Thank.
point, Radha. When
Sure,
we
sure.
talk
Yeah.
about women, because this is like women in standards, there are so these all things are very generic. But for women special, we have many more things going around in standards which we are not aware of. Like in IEEE, we have this women in engineering, which helps women. And similarly, in ITU, we have especially for youth, like girls, we have a program, Girl, GIRL, like that. In April, they have very good, going to have webinar, 24th April 2025. It is specially for young girls. Similarly, we have other projects which run specially for women, like women specific projects. So we have, I think, Equals, which promote this digital batches for skill development. It is absolutely free programs. Then we have one more, Women in Technology Challenge. So where you float
Okay.
projects which solve problems for women. So in that
Okay.
technology challenge, anybody can take part, but the project should be specific to problem solving for women, making their life easier.
Okay.
Right. So
Yeah.
generally, we don't come aware. We are not aware of all this. Just because of this webinar, I had to go this, and even I was not aware of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's actually very interesting information. And thanks for sharing that, Garima. And I hope the audience also, has made a note of it. So the next question is, how do you envision encouraging and empowering more women to actively participate in shaping technology standards? So I'll pose this question to both Noor and Garima. So Noor, maybe you can start first and then Garima after that.
So how we can encourage women to participate in standards? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so at our company, we have made it a point that all of us, not only women, but all of us, they read about standards, and then they educate
Mhm.
the other team about those standards which are there in healthcare. That could be for communication as well. And then when somebody has an interest and they get engrossed in it, so then we ask them to like implement it in our product, how it can be implemented in our product, or how what feature of our product can benefit from this standard. So that is one way we that is a very small way where how we are trying to contribute. And after listening from Garima that there are so many initiatives which are there for women, especially for standards and participating in ITU, I would contact Garima and know about it whenever she has time, and then encourage our team. Then I know other startups also who are working in healthcare. Then other, because I'm part of a startup and we have a network of people, so I can encourage them also to participate in standards, how they are using standards in there and how they can participate. So that is how I would like to contribute uh, from my side for the standardization process.
Thank you, Noor. Garima, any insights from your end on this question?
So, like whatever initiatives I mentioned were like very specific to women, and I would just say like we need to be from our side bold enough to take this challenge, because it's a very new field to us. But we need to show confidence so that others can trust us, and they can accept us as a part of mainstream of standards. So from our side, it is very important to be ready to take this opportunity.
Thank you, Garima. So
Thank you.
we'll go to the last question now. And so this is to Sonali and Pimi. What would be your suggestions or thoughts that will motivate more people to look for a role in standards development as a career? So Sonali and then Pimi.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to answer this question in two parts. One should be that why should more people consider standards development? And then the second part would be how can we encourage more participation? So one thing is this understanding of this fire should come from within that because this career path basically is where you just don't follow the trends, you help set them. So if you have that feeling from inside that I want to do this, you are at the perfect career opportunity. Or if you feel this way, then you can probably look for the opportunities where you can explore this career path. Because it actually helps bridging the research and the real world implementation, which I personally felt and I personally realized, and this is how I took up this or ventured into this option. Then you get to collaborate with several global experts. You understand the global understanding of the technology you're working on, and and of course the contribution on the international stage. Then career growth with industry recognition, which not only strengthens the technical expertise but also helps in building the leadership skills, as standardization requires negotiation, consensus, and strategic thinking. It helps in personal development as well. Then, how can we encourage more participation? Being in the standards meeting, sitting in the room where maybe few years back it was completely it was not because of any gender, being biased towards any gender, but it was just because out of options people were women were not picking up this career path. I've seen that room being filled up with more women every year I've been participating in. Currently, in at least in ITU, it was very correctly pointed out by Garima that there is a gender balance concept, and ITU encourages women. They offer the travel opportunities for women for the for the contributions they are putting up. So if there are certain opportunities like that for the women or for the new people who are venturing into this career path, it actually helps them, motivates them to put up their work to to be motivated enough to take up this opportunity, because not every organization is willing to spend money on this on this vertical, because in a way, if there are no SEPs, it is not giving you any revenue. From industry perspective, it is like that. So either it is the organization's mindset that okay, we are interested in this venture, or if an individual is interested and can bring the change, they can influence the organization or the academy or the startup they are working with. Then awareness should be there, like events like this and several other events like TSDSI host. And as Pimi has also highlighted, universities and companies should introduce standardization as a key topic in R&D discussions. Then industry academia collaboration, recognition and incentives. For example, organizations, at least in my organization, we get incentives for filing patents or publications. But if there are incentives for standards contribution, people would be motivated.
Hmm.
At least young people get motivated like that, right?
Motivated.
And most important point which I felt helped me, how I'm sitting here, how I navigated my journey for few years in this path, support for the first time contributors. It is the inevitable, it is the most important part of this journey. The process of contributing to standards can seem complex, and it is not a trivial task at first. So providing guidance, training, and structured mentorship can help new professionals to navigate their journey effectively. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sonali. Pimi, anything that you would like to add on this?
Yeah, Sonali has mostly covered all the main points, but motivating people to take up standardization as a career path, we may need to make them aware of the various opportunities, benefits, and challenges that would be coming along. So, as we've already seen after all our discussions, and we know that when we talk of some standardization efforts that is from an individual or organizations on a global platform, so you have a global recognition, When one gets a global recognition, that is altogether a different level of confidence that would be built up in an individual, irrespective of other things. And obviously, the salary compensations that are also good enough to start off a career as. And with the alignment of the academic curriculums towards the standards effort, specific to how standards are propagating, the students or the youngsters are now a little more aware of the standard initiatives in comparison to the ones who had studied very conventional courses. So that also brings young minds to be a little more ready to indulge into standardization activities. So I believe, considering the various benefits and different pointers that we have discussed so far in the discussion today, we can have or we can promote more participation into standards. And yes, we have mentors. We have TSDSI, who provides a guiding path to everyone, anyone who is interested in standards, so they can go forward in that direction. So I think the ones who listen to this can consider this as a good career option, a stable career, of course. I'm not talking about a smooth career. Things are never smooth. The journey is all filled with ups and downs. But yes, a stable career option can be opted as here. And even in my organization, current organization, and the previous organizations, I've observed that there are very limited number of women. Over the years, the count of women have increased, but yet there are lesser women in this area as compared to the men are existing here. So we can obviously strengthen that out. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So we come to the end of the questions in our panel discussion today. Uh, Ritika, do we open up for any questions?
Yes, ma'am. So, first of all, thank you to our esteemed panel for sharing such thought-provoking insights. This discussion has given us valuable perspectives on a woman's role in shaping technology standards. We will now proceed to the interactive session, Q&A and idea sharing. Kindly request all participants to type their questions in the Q&A tab for us to address them. Miss Anuradha ma'am will be moderating the Q&A session and will help guide us through your queries.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
Uh, are
there
you
are no,
sharing that?
no, there are not any questions. There is a query that I will be addressing.
Okay.
So, yeah, the query is how can I join these groups? I am a PhD scholar working in 6G V2X at IIT Hyderabad. So, this is Anu Shahu. I would like to tell that I will be just putting my email ID over in the chat box, and then I can take your query to our secretariat group. And also, I would like to inform that we have our next SGN study group networks and SGSS study group services, solutions, technical plenary meetings on 27 and 28 March. So there you can participate and contribute there. So ma'am, we are not seeing any questions.
Okay. So,
So now the concluding.
all right. So first of
So now,
all, go
mm,
ahead. Go ahead.
now let's move to an final segment, closing remarks. I now invite Miss Anuradha ma'am to deliver the closing remarks. Ma'am, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, the audience, the panelists, our uh, keynote speaker, Ms. Ghazala, and Ritika and Bindu, for putting this together and sharing your insights. So, first of all, I want to take this opportunity to, say, we have in this, I think, the last 1 hour, it has been a very insightful discussion. There has been a lot that we heard on the role that women play in shaping standards, the challenges. We have heard some of your journeys and what you do and your organizations do, what helped you come to this path, how you chose this path, and how things work here. So, and also the need for the role of a mentor in this. We also heard that this is a journey and it is not very smooth, but then there is a lot to learn and to go forward. So a few takeaways is that we need more women not just participating but leading the technical committees, policy discussions, because they bring in diverse viewpoints to the whole equation. And then there has to be a lot of collaboration. So organizations, institutions, individuals must all collaborate together to kind of see to it that we adopt the standards. And each of us have a role to play, whether it is about shaping these standards or uh, taking these standards forward, or even sharing knowledge about this in our respective organizations. So again, once more, a very sincere thank you to all of the panelists. This has been a great hour and a half for me, because this is the first time I've heard so much about standards firsthand from people who are, practicing or practicing in this area. And, you know, thank you for sharing all of that. And let's continue this topic. And I hope TSDSI, kind of promotes standardization as one of their, or careers in standardization as one of their agendas, or talks about it in some of the future events as well. So thank you very much again, and have a nice day, everyone.
Ma'am, there is a question here. Someone has raised the hand.
Hi, I'm Pooja here. I'm talking from Germany. I'm sorry, I'm at a conference, so maybe you hear some background noise. Thank you so much for organizing this event, and I was very happy to see that there's something like this actively going on in India as well, because here we really feel a challenge of having less women in standardization. And my journey has been in as a professor in colleges across India, like Delhi and Bangalore. And now I also am a freelance teacher in a university at SRH, teaching masters IT students transmission technology. And the challenge here also is students are really not aware about standardization. Why do we need it? What is the purpose? How globalization or harmonization between different vendors, manufacturers, integrators, operators can really happen. So thank you for creating this awareness, and I hope that this journey also brings in more women in the topic, and there's more inclusion and diversity. While I would like to know, are there any specific references that can be provided, maybe from the registration you already have the mail links? So can you share the discussions today? What are the next steps that you're planning in this direction? What synergies I can do from here and bring some, because I'm associated with SNSJU and also Women in Telecommunication and Research Working Group. So we can kind of collaborate, or if there are any specific synergies that you're looking for, I would be happy to collaborate and know from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Anuradha ji, this is Bindu Srivastav. I raised my hand. I am working at TSDSI Secretariat, And I just wanted to, respond to Pooja, if you don't mind.
Sure,
Um,
sure, please.
Thank you very much. So Pooja, lovely to have you join us from Germany. And I wanted to mention that the recordings of this webinar recording would be posted to the event website shortly, so you can go over it. Summary findings, some recommendations from this webinar would also be put up on the event website shortly. Other than that, at TSDSI, we have been consciously looking at how we can encourage women to participate in development of standards. Of course, we've noticed that as it is awareness about standards, its importance, strategic importance, as well as using it as a career path is quite low. And among women, it's even lower. So we have been running some workshops and outreach activities to get people involved. We'll surely reach out to you, Pooja, and see how we can work together to take this forward. If you could type in your contact details in the chat window, somebody from Secretariat would reach out to you to take this forward. Thank you very much. Back to you, Anuradha ji. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Sonali. Sorry, Bindu, for the answer. And do we have any more questions? And else we
Uh,
can, you know.
no, no, ma'am. But here are some announcements for the our next event. I
Sure.
want to share it. Before I conclude, I would like to bring to your attention our two upcoming events. First, we have the workshop on reconfigurable intelligence services at IIIT Bangalore on 17 March 2025. The workshop will provide a platform for Indian researchers and industry working in the field of RIS to exchange ideas. I will give you a few moments to scan the QR code on the screen for more details. Okay, so moving to our second event, which is our flagship event, the TSDSI Technical Deep Dive
Deep.
2025, which will be held from 15 to 18 July 2025. This is the eighth edition of the conference and will feature six online technical sessions from 15 to 17 July. These sessions will be followed by the conference theme session on July 18, which will be on a hybrid mode. So again, I will take a moment to scan the QR code. And for more information, you can also visit our website at www.ttdd.tsdsi.in. We look forward to your participation and we hope to see you at both the events. Thank you all for participating in the webinar. We trust that you found the session insightful and informative. At this time, you may complete the feedback forms either by scanning the QR code provided or by submitting them through the link that will be shared shortly. Your valuable insights and suggestions are greatly appreciated as they will help us enhance our future events. Please note that the webinar recordings will be made available on the event website in due course. With that, we formally conclude the Women in Standards Roundtable 2025. Thank you once again for your participation and support.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Good
Thank
evening.
you and bye bye.